Imagine walking into your own company and being talked down to by the people you pay. That's exactly what happened to Monica, and her response shook the entire industry. Monica Ellison pulled into the lot just after 10 a.m. The sky over Sacramento was clear, the pavement already warming beneath her sneakers. No tinted SUV, no chauffeur, just her Honda Accord, and a quiet determination that had taken years to earn. She paused before heading inside. The glass doors bore her name, Ellison Auto House, a luxury dealership known across California for its high-end imports. Audi, BMW, Jaguar, Lexus. Clean, sharp lines, polished interiors, and a team trained to charm anyone with money. Monica exhaled and stepped through the doors. The lobby was sleek, minimalist. White marble floors, espresso bar on the right, an entire wall of curved LED screens showing slow-motion shots of cars gliding through mountain roads. She'd paid a small fortune for that aesthetic. A young man behind the reception desk looked up, barely, then back at his screen. She approached slowly. "Good morning." "Morning," he said, without a smile. "You here for service?" "No, just looking," she replied. The receptionist glanced her up and down. Monica could feel it. The mental checklist, no designer handbag, no polished nails, no jewelry. She wasn't who they were trained to impress. "Someone will be with you soon," he mumbled, already turning away. She stood quietly, taking in her own showroom, the walls, the smell of leather, the little things she'd approved with care, air diffusers with that signature scent, curated playlists. She knew every inch of this place. Yet she was invisible. A few minutes later, a salesman in a checkered blue shirt sauntered over. Late 30s, confident, looked like the kind who closed deals fast and sized people even faster. "I'm Trey," he said, without offering a hand. "Looking for something affordable?" Monica raised an eyebrow. "I haven't said what I'm looking for yet." Trey gave a light chuckle, like he was being charming. Sure. But I can always tell. You want something reliable. Maybe pre-owned? We've got a few good deals in the back." She followed him, staying silent. They passed 2 gleaming Jaguars, untouched. He didn't pause, didn't ask, just headed straight to a used Lexus parked near the side lot. "This one's a beauty," he said. "Solid mileage. Not too flashy." Monica folded her arms. "What makes you think I don't want flashy?" He shrugged. "I've been doing this a while. You get a feel for people." She looked him in the eyes for the first time. "You think I can't afford it?" Trey's smile faltered. "Hey, no offense. Just trying to save you time." But Monica didn't flinch. She watched his face, how the charm thinned when challenged, how he started checking his watch like she wasn't worth the full pitch. "I'm curious," she said. "How do you decide which customers get shown the premium models?" Trey gave a little laugh. "I mean, we treat everyone the same. Just depends on the vibe, you know?" Monica nodded slowly. "Vibe." He missed the shift in her tone. "Exactly. Like no point dragging someone through the VIP room if they're just browsing." She gave him a smile. "Do you know who I am?" There was a beat of silence. Trey looked again. Really looked. Confused. "I'm not here to buy a car," she said. "I'm here to see how you treat people. You failed." Trey's mouth opened slightly. "Wait, what?" Monica pulled out her ID badge from her bag and held it out. The logo matched the one on the wall. His face drained. She didn't say anything more, just stood there, calm as ever. He stammered, I didn't know it was you." "That's the point," she replied. "You didn't think you needed to know." She turned around and walked past him, back into the heart of the showroom. But what Monica would hear next, hidden in plain sight, was worse than anything Trey had said out loud. Monica didn't rush. She wandered slowly past the polished vehicles and soft-lit panels, pausing here and there, pretending to inspect a Mercedes coupe she personally approved for the spring lineup. She wasn't just watching. She was listening. To the left, near the espresso bar, 2 junior sales associates stood chatting. They didn't lower their voices. They never do when they think no one important is nearby. "I had this woman yesterday," one of them said, sipping his drink. "Came in asking about the Q7. designer bag and everything. But I could tell she was frontin'. Credit tanked when we ran it. The other guy laughed. Gotta love the ones that dress like $1 million and can't even get approved for a lease. You see the lady Trey's working with? The first guy nodded in her direction. Yeah, the other snorted. Probably walked here. You know how it goes. Wants to test drive a Benz, ends up leaving in a pamphlet. Monica kept her back to them, pretending to study the vehicle specs on a nearby touchscreen. She didn't need to look to feel it. The arrogance, the entitlement, the judgment dressed as banter. They had no clue who she was. And that was exactly the experiment she wanted to run. She walked over to the Porsche section. It was more exclusive, with a lounge tucked in the corner and sales reps assigned only to high-profile clients. Monica had designed it to feel elite. Welcoming, but intimidating if you didn't belong. A woman was there already. Black, mid-50s, immaculately dressed in tailored cream slacks and a silk blouse. She was alone. Flipping through color options, Monica watched as another salesman, a tall, thin guy with a sharp tie and slicked back hair, approached the woman with a practiced smile. "Looking for something specific?" he asked. The woman smiled politely. "Yes. The Macan. I've been doing my research." "Of course," he replied, too quickly. "Just so you know, we do require proof of funds before test drives in this section. Not personal, just policy." Monica's stomach turned. The woman blinked. "I wasn't asking to test drive it yet. I wanted to ask about the differences in trims." Sure, he said. "Just putting it out there. A lot of people look, but this isn't the usual inventory." Monica stepped in before she could stop herself. "Is that how we speak to clients now?" she said, her voice direct. The salesman turned toward her, confused. "Sorry, do you need assistance?" "No," Monica replied. "I need to understand why you're quoting policy to a potential buyer who hasn't even asked to drive the car." He hesitated. "It's just, we've had issues before. I didn't mean anything by it." Monica glanced at the woman, who was now quietly stepping back, clearly uncomfortable. "I designed this section," Monica said, "so I'm very familiar with what the policy is. You're not quoting it, you're weaponizing it." The man's expression changed. "Wait, you're Monica Ellison?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned to the woman. "If you still want to see the Macan, I'd be happy to walk you through it myself." The woman looked relieved, then surprised, then curious. "I'd like that, yes." The salesman stepped back awkwardly. "Ms. Ellison, I apologize." "I'm not here for apologies," she said. "I'm here for truth." She and the woman walked away, Monica explaining the difference between the Macan S and GTS as naturally as if she were back in the early days of her career. She asked questions. The woman answered easily. They laughed once or twice. Monica offered her a test drive and never once asked for bank statements. When they returned, the woman thanked her. "You should have seen the look on his face." Monica smiled. "I did. That's why I'm here." But as Monica headed toward the office wing, what she was about to uncover next would make her question whether this issue was just employee behavior or something built into the very bones of her company. Monica walked through the frosted glass door labeled "Authorized Personnel Only," badge swinging from her belt loop. Most staff didn't recognize her in casual wear, but the office wing was different. People glanced up. Some froze mid-conversation. A few offered tight smiles. She nodded, but didn't stop. Her old office was at the far end. Clean lines, minimalist desk, framed photo of her with her late grandfather who used to fix up used Buicks in Stockton. He taught her everything she knew about cars and people. But Monica didn't go there. She veered off toward the break room instead. The door was open. 2 men and a woman sat inside eating lunch, half watching a sports segment on the wall-mounted TV. They didn't notice her at first. "So what happened with that woman last week?" one of the men asked, unwrapping a sandwich. The woman laughed. "Oh, she wanted the AMG coupe. Had her nose in the air the whole time. I told her there was a 6-month wait list, and guess what? She asked if we could make an exception. I said, 'We don't do exceptions for dreams.'" They all burst out laughing. Monica leaned quietly against the doorframe. The other man added, That's what happens when people watch too much reality TV. Think they can just walk in and buy a 6-figure car like it's Amazon, the woman shrugged. If they don't look the part, they probably aren't the part. Simple. Monica stepped forward. So what does someone have to look like to buy a car here? All three heads snapped around. Mom, the woman started, but Monica held up a hand. No, really, what's the look? Because from what I've heard so far today, it sounds like you all have a picture in your head of who deserves to be here, and who doesn't. The first man swallowed hard. We didn't mean, you did. Monica cut in, her voice level. You meant exactly what you said. You felt safe enough to say it in here because you assumed no one was listening. But I am. The room fell silent except for the low volume of the TV. I built this place, she said quietly. From the ground up. I opened it because I wanted to change how this industry treated people who looked like me. And now I walk into my own business and hear this? The woman looked down. The other man started to speak, but stopped. Monica stared at them. You think you're just making jokes. But every laugh tells the next salesperson it's okay to assume, to insult, to ignore. The silence that followed wasn't the guilty kind. It was the kind that came when people realized they weren't just caught. They were the problem. She didn't yell. She didn't need to. After a long pause, Monica said, Finish your lunch. Then meet me in the conference room. You too, she added, glancing at the woman. Then she turned and walked out, heading down the hallway, her sneakers silent against the polished concrete floor. As she reached the executive offices, she caught snippets of conversation behind closed doors. HR, sales management, people discussing sales quotas and incentives. The numbers looked fine on paper. But the culture? Rotten. She pulled aside Dana, her assistant of 7 years, and said, I want every team member in the conference room in 10 minutes. No excuses. Dana blinked. Is everything okay? No, Monica replied. But it's about to be. But what happened once everyone sat down would not just shake the room. It would shake the entire company to its core. The conference room filled up fast. 27 employees in total, including sales reps, admin staff, the marketing lead, and 2 managers. Some carried notepads, others just their nervous expressions. Everyone could feel something was coming. But they didn't know what. Monica stood at the front of the room. No podium, no presentation, just her. I'll keep this short, she said. Some of you don't know who I am. That ends today. She paused and looked around the room. A few people shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Others stared, trying to piece together where they'd seen her before. I'm Monica Ellison, she said, letting the words land. Founder and CEO of Ellison Auto House. Murmurs started immediately. A few jaws actually dropped. I came in today without an appointment. No heels, no badge, no last name. I did that because I needed to see how this place runs when no one thinks I'm watching. The room went still. I was ignored by reception, condescended to by sales, and shown a used Lexus as if it was all I could possibly afford. Meanwhile, I heard private conversations, both on the floor and in the break room, that made it crystal clear this isn't about one bad day. This is about culture. She locked eyes with Trey, the salesman who'd written her off hours earlier. He looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. To be clear, Monica continued, this isn't about selling cars. This is about how you see people, how you treat people. Someone in the back tried to interject. Ms. Ellison, we treat... She raised a hand. Don't finish that sentence unless you've actually seen how everyone gets treated here. Because I have. She reached into her bag and pulled out a slim folder. This is a report from a consulting firm I hired 2 months ago. They've been running anonymous visits to our dealerships, every single one, including this one. A wave of unease hit the room. I didn't tell anyone, she said, because I wanted honesty, not performances. What they found confirmed my fears. Some of you are excellent. You go above and beyond. You greet people with respect. But others? You make assumptions. You dismiss. You alienate. She set the folder on the table. And if that wasn't enough, today I watched it happen with my own eyes. Trey raised his hand, voice shaky. Ms. Ellison, I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't know who you were. That's exactly the point, she replied. You shouldn't have to know who someone is to treat them with respect. The room was dead silent now. She turned her gaze to the floor manager, a man named Owen, who'd been with the company for over a decade. Owen, she said, I gave you this showroom because I trusted you to build a team that reflects our values. But what I've seen today doesn't match who we say we are. Owen sat stiffly, swallowing hard. You're right. I'm not looking for quick apologies, Monica said. I want accountability. She looked around the room, her tone calm but cutting. There will be changes, some of them immediate. And if this conversation makes you uncomfortable, good, it should. One of the admin staff, a woman named Tessa, raised her hand. Can I say something? Monica nodded. I've been working here for 3 years, Tessa said. I've seen what you're talking about. I've watched co-workers skip over people who don't look the part. And I've been told to let it go. But it never sat right. Monica nodded slowly. Thank you for saying that. People like you are the reason this place is still standing. She turned back to the room. Starting today, we're going to rebuild from the inside. Some of you won't be here next week. Others will be promoted. But every single person in this building is going to be retrained. Not on selling cars, but on decency. But what Monica put in motion after that meeting would shake more than just her team. It would ripple out across the entire industry. By 8 a.m. the next morning, the HR team from corporate was already in the building. Monica hadn't wasted a minute. She sat down with Dana and 2 senior HR reps, Dolores and Quentin, at the conference table. In front of them were transcripts, security footage logs, and incident reports from the past 6 months that had quietly piled up but never been addressed properly. Today, that changed. Let's start with Trey, Monica said, flipping open a folder. Not just what happened yesterday. Dolores skimmed her notes. 2 past complaints, both female clients, both involved assumptions about credit and being steered away from luxury models. Monica exhaled slowly. He's done. Agreed. Quentin said. They moved on to the break room trio. One was a repeat offender, the other 2 had clean records. Until now. The woman, Denise, had been promoted just 4 months earlier. Monica shook her head. If you've been given more responsibility and still think it's okay to talk about customers like that in a shared space, you're not leading anything. Termination? Dolores asked. Immediate, Monica confirmed. By noon, 5 employees were quietly dismissed. Each handed severance packets, escorted out professionally. No drama, no announcements, just a sudden vacuum of bad habits being cleared from the room. But it wasn't just about firing people. Monica knew that alone wouldn't fix what had rotted underneath. She turned her attention to training. Not the generic kind, not the slideshow in the break room nonsense that got ignored after day 1. This has to be personal, she said. Real scenarios, role-played. We start with how unconscious bias shows up in speech, posture, tone. I want people looking at themselves, not just nodding through it. Dana added, we could partner with that group from San Jose, the one that runs workplace equity simulations. They're hands-on and blunt. Perfect, Monica said. Bring them in. Next came recognition. Tessa? Monica said thoughtfully, leaning back in her chair. She's been holding her tongue for years, but yesterday she spoke up, promoting her to customer experience lead. Full salary bump. Done, said Dolores. She's earned it. Monica tapped her pen once, twice. I also want the team to know why she's being promoted. Make it clear this is about who we are, not who we pretend to be when someone important walks in. Meanwhile, the story of what had happened during Monica's visit had already started spreading. Vendors were whispering. A couple clients who happened to be in the building that day sent emails applauding her response. One even posted about it on LinkedIn, without naming names, but praising a CEO who showed up unannounced, witnessed racism firsthand, and didn't let it slide. Within 24 hours, the post had over 800 shares. Still, Monica kept her head down. She wasn't looking for applause. She was rebuilding something that had her name on the glass, but not enough of her heart in the walls. That night, she stayed late, walked the lot alone, passed every vehicle, every bay, looked through the windows of the showroom with a different set of eyes. The problem hadn't started with the staff. It had started with the systems, with what was allowed, what was brushed aside, what no one wanted to address unless it threatened the numbers. She made a silent vow to herself, right there next to a row of 2024 Jaguars. Never again. The next morning, she held a brief staff meeting. Everyone was quiet, waiting for another bomb to drop. Instead, Monica said, "What we do here is about more than selling cars. It's about every person who walks through those doors feeling like they matter, even if they don't look like your version of a high-value customer." Then she paused. "If that doesn't sit right with you, this isn't the place for you." No one moved, but several exchanged glances. She smiled faintly. "That's okay. We'll show you how to do it right. But it starts today." But while the walls of Ellison Auto House were changing, Monica knew she still had one final decision to make, and it would test everything she believed about forgiveness, accountability, and leadership. The next few weeks were a storm Monica had planned for, but still had to weather in real time. Not everyone was happy with the changes. A few employees quit quietly. 2 walked out mid-shift, leaving their badges on the front desk like some kind of statement. Monica didn't flinch. She brought in a new head of sales from the Reno location, Arden Wells, a straight shooter with a reputation for calling out bias mid-sentence. Arden walked in on her first day, held a team huddle, and said, "If you're more focused on a customer's shoes than their questions, you're in the wrong line of work." That set the tone. Training began the same week, not in the conference room, but in the showroom itself. They used real interactions, reenactments. Monica insisted the trainers pull examples from actual transcripts, changing names, but keeping the words. It made people squirm. That was the point. Tessa, now officially customer experience lead, was thriving in her new role. She started sitting in on every client interaction flagged as incomplete and began recording feedback in a new system she designed with the IT team. Her reports weren't just numbers, they included quotes, context, and suggestions. Monica read every single one. "I don't want to just react anymore," Tessa told her one afternoon. "I want us to anticipate." Monica smiled. "That's leadership." Meanwhile, Monica had been getting emails, dozens of them. Some were from other dealerships in the area, curious about what she was changing. Others came from people she didn't know, black women, single mums, first-time buyers, thanking her for standing up to what they'd experienced so many times, but couldn't prove. One email stood out. It was from Cynthia Harmon, the woman Monica had helped in the Porsche section that day. She wrote, "I walked into your showroom expecting to be tolerated. I walked out feeling like I belonged. I don't know if you remember what I said, but I told my sister later that night. She didn't see me as a maybe. She saw me as enough. Thank you for that." Monica read that line 3 times. She saw me as enough. That hit deeper than any numbers report ever could. Back at the showroom, things were shifting in small, visible ways. The receptionist now greeted every person who walked in, with eye contact, with a name if available, and with dignity. Sales reps were slower to assume, quicker to ask real questions. The espresso bar even added a tip jar, with proceeds going to a local youth automotive tech program Monica personally funded. But the biggest change was what didn't happen anymore. People weren't being sized up before their first words. They were being listened to. Then came the final meeting. Trey had requested it. He'd been fired weeks ago, and Monica hadn't expected to hear from him again. But he reached out through HR, asked if she'd be willing to sit down for 10 minutes. She said yes. They met at a small cafe a few miles from the dealership. No suits, no lawyers, just 2 people across a table. Trey looked thinner, nervous, but clear-eyed. "I've had a lot of time to think," he started. I've worked in sales for a long time, and I guess I stopped seeing people and started sorting them. Like walking stereotypes. I didn't even realize it. I thought I was being efficient. Monica stayed quiet, letting him speak. But the way you handled it shook me. Not just losing the job, but realizing how I'd made people feel for years. He reached into his coat pocket and slid over a small envelope. I wrote a letter to that woman I dismissed. I know I'll probably never find her, but maybe someone at the showroom still knows who she is. Monica took the envelope, weighed it in her hand. I can't promise she'll ever read it, she said softly. I just want to try, he replied. They sat for a while longer. No grand forgiveness, no handshake agreement, just understanding. And that was enough. But as Monica left the cafe, watching the sun dip behind the glass buildings, one final thought began to rise. A message she knew she had to share with the world before this story ended. 3 months later, Monica stood by the showroom entrance, arms folded, watching a young couple, first-time buyers, chat excitedly with one of the newer sales reps. They were asking smart questions, not just about features, but financing, service, long-term care. The rep, Malik, a soft-spoken former mechanic turned salesperson, wasn't rushing them, wasn't making assumptions. He was listening. That's what Monica noticed more than anything lately. People were listening. The showroom felt different now, not just in tone, but in rhythm. There was a pace to it, steady, intentional, respectful. No one was cutting people off mid-sentence. No one was scanning for wallets instead of answers. Monica stepped outside, letting the warm air hit her face. She thought about how long it had taken to build this place, and how close she'd come to losing the heart of it. Not to bad business, but to comfort. Because that's what allowed it all to slide. Success had made the team comfortable enough to ignore microaggressions, comfortable enough to look the other way, comfortable enough to forget that no matter how shiny the cars were, people still carried invisible wounds when they walked through the door. Sometimes from life, sometimes from places just like this. Back in her office, Monica pulled out a folder labeled Client Notes, Personal, and slid out Cynthia Harmon's email again. She kept it there as a reminder. Proof that change wasn't just about protocol, it was about people. She'd already shared parts of her experience during a conference call with other dealership owners across California. Some were skeptical. Others called her privately, asking how she did it. She didn't sugarcoat anything. You have to be willing to tear it down, she told them. Not just the system, yourself too. That's the part they weren't ready for. Because Monica didn't just fire people. She sat with her own silence over the years. Times she'd let things slide because it was easier. Times she'd smiled through disrespect because she didn't want to look difficult. She faced those parts too, and she changed them. One night, during a late closing, she walked the lot with Malik. He'd been promoted recently after a glowing review from a client who said, "He made me feel like I belonged, not like I had to prove I did." As they walked, Malik asked her something she hadn't been expecting. "Ms. Ellison, when you came in that day, were you hoping someone would fail?" She thought about it before answering. "No," she said. "I was hoping I was wrong." Malik nodded. "But I'm glad I saw it with my own eyes," she added. "Because now I know exactly what we're protecting." And that's what she left with her team. Every manager, every intern, every new hire that walked in after. You don't fix culture with a press release. You fix it in the moments no one sees. The pause before you assume. The effort to listen before deciding. The choice to value someone for who they are, not what you think they can offer you. Before leaving for a long overdue vacation, Monica called a staff meeting. No long speeches. Just this. Every customer that walks in here matters. Whether they leave with a car or just a coffee. We treat them the same. Because respect isn't something we sell. It's something we live. And then she added, "If you ever forget that, just remember, you might be talking to me. Or someone who built more than you'll ever see." They laughed. But they heard her. And as Monica stepped out of her office, locking the door behind her for the first real break in years, She didn't feel like she was walking away. She felt like she was leaving something in good hands. What Monica learned, and what she left behind, wasn't just about race, class, or corporate policy. It was about courage. The courage to face what's broken, even when you built it yourself, and the courage to rebuild it the right way. If this story meant something to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Talk about it. And if you're ever in a position to choose between comfort and doing the right thing, choose the right thing. Always. Subscribe for more stories that don't just tell, but teach.